BYU travels to Arizona State in what is legitimately the Big 12 game of the year. And what's hilarious about this is that both these teams had an over and a win total of 4.5 entering in the season. What a time to be alive as a Big 12 fan. This is unbelievable. Arizona State has just played such good football. Literally all season long. I know that some of the teams that they played against and won, you're looking at it and you're like, oh man, maybe the Big 12 isn't that strong, right? And I know people want to look at the SEC and be like, oh, like when the SEC beats up on each other, it's because everyone's good. And when the Big 12 beats up on each other, it's because, whatever. I don't know. I don't know how good the Big 12 is relative to some of these other conferences, but I'll tell you this. It's competitive. And BYU is coming off a stinger of a loss to Kansas. They've had a couple instances where they've been very beatable, like against Oklahoma State, against Utah, where they probably should have lost, one or both of those games. It's at Arizona State, dude. The line's 3.5 here, favoring Arizona State, and I'm gonna lay him, dude. Arizona State is in ascension mode, and I talked about this on the preview show last week. I'm like, Arizona State's plus 1,700 to win the Big 12, and all we need to happen really is for Arizona State to beat Kansas State and BYU, which I thoroughly believe both those things were going to happen, and then Kansas to beat BYU, which we also predicted on the show. And I'm like, if you parlay those together, it's probably like plus 1,400. I'm like, plus 1,700 feels like pretty decent value. And, well, I don't know. But then they'd also have to win the Big 12 championship too. So I just did the math in my head. I'm like, oh, man, should I do it? And I thought I was going to do it, and then I didn't do it. And I'm so pissed because they're now plus 350 to win the Big 12 after just a couple days ago being plus 1,700. So Arizona State's in ascension mode. I freaking love it. Sammy L is playing great football. Cam Scadaboo is going to get his. That defense and Brian Ward. Brian Ward is going to – I hope they keep him, dude, and I hope they pay him whatever he needs because he has been so good for them as their defensive coordinator. The last 2 seasons with limited talent. You lost your, 3 best players on the defensive side of the ball last year, and you got better? That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable coach job by Brian Ward, and not to mention Kenny Dillingham, who I think – I mean, obviously you look at Sanders, right, and what he's done there, I think is a fantastic job. But when I'm looking at Big 12 Coaches of the Year, I'm staring at Kenny Dillingham, and I'm like, holy cow, the job that this guy has done in 2 seasons with what we thought was a garbage roster has been nothing short of miraculous.
It's been incredible. There's been a couple great stories in the Big 12 here. BYU also, I think, kind of they're losing their steam and they're losing their Cinderella, right? You can see it kind of fading away, the magic, but they also deserve a ton of credit here. I'm going to go Arizona State with you. I'm going to take the minus 3.5. I think BYU has been a team that has been super vulnerable, right? I think for a while now, and it kind of ran into a team that was playing good football and honestly got a bounce of ball luck, and they ended up winning that football game against Kansas after the punt, hitting the pooch punt, hitting the player, and Kansas getting the ball first and goal. But I don't think Arizona State needs that kind of luck. I think at home, 12:30 p.m. local time, it's going to be fired up there in Tempe. And this is a good football team. We talked about it. They've known exactly what they've needed to do. They've known exactly what's needed to happen for them to go to the Big 12. And by the way, be a game away from the playoffs. I know a lot has to happen. You got to beat a BYU team. You got to go on the road to your rival Arizona, who I think embarrassed you last year. But man, oh man, it's there for you. It is there for you. Defensively, BYU, we've talked about them doing a great job, and they have. And especially, to the standard of what we thought it was going to be there. But on the ground, they have been susceptible. They're pretty average in the Big 12 there. And like you said with Scadaboo, if he can get going, man, and give Sammy L play-action passes and different looks down the field, and let Kenny Dillingham really start operating and opening up that entire offense. You're in second and short. You're in third and short. Favorable spots for the offense, and that's where you can see this team really jump on you like they did to Kansas State. And by the way, Arizona State against the run is damn good. They're up at the top 3 there, and if you make Retzlaff beat you, we've seen at times he can. We've also seen at times, more so recently, where it's been a lot more, than good. And I think that's where Arizona State and Clayton Smith and those guys can get after him and, get a win here because, damn it. And both these teams are still alive for the playoffs, which is awesome. But you also got, I think, an Arizona State team that's ascending and BYU team that's maybe falling off right now or coming back down to earth.
I mean, this is a huge game, dude. And then obviously there's still a game next week that's got to be played for both these teams, but each of them control their own destiny for the college football playoffs. It's crazy to think about that the teams, Colorado, Arizona State, and BYU, all had a win total of less than 6 heading into the season, control their own destiny right now in Week 13 to make it to the college football playoffs. It's unbelievable. Really unbelievable.
That's why we play the games, by the way. That's why we play the games.
Yeah, you said it.